Welcome to this episode of Speaker Coaching on Mic Drop Mindset. My name is Jenn, also Jennspingo if you're looking for me online. And today in the studio, I'm welcoming Michelle Von Ruden. Welcome.
Hi, thanks for having me.
So, Michelle, you told me that you wanted to coach on something and you weren't quite sure specifically what you wanted to coach on today. By the way, I don't know what we're talking about today, so tell me and our audience, what are we coaching on today?
Okay, so just to give you a little bit of background, I know you know me, but for those who are listening, so I entered the business of speaking about 2 years ago, and I came into it to mainly be a coach and to speak to get more clients. Tables have turned, so I now enjoy and love speaking. And this year, I stepped out a little bit more in my faith. I started a podcast. I talk about my faith openly. And now, as I am transitioning into what the new normal is for me, I'm trying to understand how do I incorporate those or how do I keep them separate? And let me make that a little bit more clear. So I have been told by numerous people that if I say that, oh, I speak in the Christian segment world, if I speak in the Christian world, then no one's going to hire me in the secular world and vice versa. But I don't think that's true. And what I'm trying to figure out is how do I navigate that? And you've been in the business longer than I have, right? So how do I navigate that? Because you hear you can't do it and you can't have your cake and eat it too. But come on, guys, I want my cake and I want to eat it too.
Sounds delicious.
It does, right? So why can't I be fully authentically me and still get the same message across? Because the difference is in one situation, I say it one way, and in another situation, I say it the same way. It's the same message.
Okay. Just to clarify, because, again, I know something of you. I know about your podcast, Why I Believe. Check it out. But what I'm curious about is it the same talk?
Yeah, so I talk about burnout, and burnout is real in both worlds. And so that's really, I'm a burnout strategist, and that's what I talk about. The thing that I'm running into is people are like, well, if you start posting about you spoke here and there, then you're not going to get these leads. And then if you do this, you're not going to get that. And it's a lot of blocking, and I don't really like that so much.
I'm curious who you're talking to as well. These seem like a lot of naysayers. Are they people who are in either one of the secular or the Christian world?
Yes.
So they're speakers in the secular and Christian world who are giving you this well-meaning advice.
Well-meaning advice that are really well known in the world.
Okay.
So it's not like I'm talking to another first year, second year, third year speaker. I'm talking to somebody who has CSP, CPAEs, the real status.
Okay. So the fear here is that if you hung your shingle in either world, that it would exclude you from the other one?
Yeah. And the reason why it's really coming to light is I'm going to start working on a new website because right now I just have my coaching and consulting. And I'm really trying to decipher, how do I do that? And how do I put it together in a way that makes sense and that people feel included?
Okay.
Does that make sense?
I think so. The thing I'm a little bit struggling with is if the talk is the same, regardless of which audience you're delivering it to, what is different about the talk?
Well, in one talk, I would be throwing in Bible verses and examples from the Bible and stories from the Bible to help really take home the points.
Okay.
Whereas in the secular world, I'm going to be talking about my personal experiences and experiences of people that have come to me and talked to me about their experiences and sharing those stories. So really, the stories are the differentiator.
Okay, so you'll swap out the stories, which is something that I usually recommend people do as they're customizing their talk with whatever audience they're in front of. Obviously, you can't talk about, Bible verses in front of people who aren't Christian.
Right.
So that would make total sense. Is the concern that people perhaps if you speak at a church, they might be like, oh, we heard you speak at this other place before and you didn't have the same talk? Is that a concern as well?
No, it's just really the flip side of that, right?
Oh, okay.
The secular world. So, okay, we saw you had a post about you spoke at a Christian conference. Okay, well, we can't have you because you might try to spit it all over us, right? And that's really not what's going to happen because I'm a professional, right? But how do I do that and navigate that so that way they understand that?
It sounds like there's some things about identity coming up here.
Not for me, but yeah. Identity is actually one of the things I talk about in the whole burnout strategy.
So what about someone who's non-Christian would feel threatened by you dropping a Bible verse, do you feel?
I don't think they would. I think it's the meeting planners who are fearful of the unknown. I think that's really what it comes down to because they have a stack of people that they can go through. That might be problematic, gone, right? And that's where I'm trying to, how do I get over that hump? how do I make it so people know that I'm not problematic?
Do you have some sense of previous engagements that you haven't received specifically because of this?
Not yet. No.
Okay, so you don't have any evidence necessarily pointing to this. So right now it's kind of a fear, it's kind of a concern. No evidence so far for that.
Correct.
So
Not that I'm aware of anyway, right? Because
okay.
you don't always get all the feedback.
This is true. This is
So-
true. You can ask, but if
You
they
can
don't
ask.
respond or if they say something different, we have no idea what actually is
Right,
true.
right.
It's the awesome world we live in these days. Supposing you put yourself out there as just a speaker. You don't clarify that you're Christian, secular, nothing. You're just a speaker on burnout and resilience. What about that?
That's what I'm doing currently.
Okay.
But I think as the podcast grows, and I'm actually doing a podcast live at a Christian music festival in a couple months.
Fun.
So I think as that grows,
Mm-hmm.
it's going to be more problematic. And I'm just trying to solve the problem before I think it becomes a problem. Especially when I'm thinking about how I'm doing the website and how, because as you know, websites are not cheap. We're putting our money there. We're getting people, we're sending people there. We want to make sure it's right. And it's not going to be perfect. And I understand that because perfectionism is a lie. However, I want it to be as good as it can be.
How will you know whether it's a problem? An actual problem with evidence where you're being declined?
When someone tells me, when I actually get someone to tell me, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So what would make you feel more secure about what you need to put on your website?
That's a great question. And I don't know. So I had the opportunity to be in a room with a Hall of Famer about a month ago, and I asked them, because at the end of his talk, he says, God bless. And I was like, how do you work with that? How do you navigate that? And I didn't really get a full answer. And I guess I would really like a full answer from somebody who's navigated that world and how they've done it and the cause and effect. Because I'm not worried about losing clients who are like, that's really not my style. That's not my life. That's cool. That's great. I'm happy to know that. I'm here if you need me for anything else. Right? My hurdle is getting past the meeting planners who are like, oh, but maybe, and creating that fear that's not necessarily there.
Why would the meeting planner have that fear? So as I'm thinking through the application process, you're submitting a proposal, an RFP, or maybe you're just word of mouth referral and you're saying, this is what I talk about. What in that pitch would indicate that you might be a red flag for them?
When they go to the website and see the speaker page, and then on the other side would be the podcast, or, if I speak at a Christian thing, it's going to be on the website. So I think it's when they see that.
I see. Who is your best client that you know of so far?
High achievers.
Who is your best audience fit?
Women. So far, it's been
women across the board, not just Christian women?
High achieving women.
High achieving women. Okay.
Yes,
regardless of faith,
correct.
Education, age, all of it.
Yes.
Okay. So why would you be concerned that something unique to your identity, your faith, would result in you getting no? What if it results in you getting yes?
No. That's a good point.
At the end of the day, people hire you for the way you deliver your content. What's coming up for you around that?
Part of it is I started to separate things. I created, like, LinkedIn has 3 pages now, right? Facebook has 3 pages now. Instagram has 2. I'm like, I feel like it's just madness. But when I separated the LinkedIn, somebody's like, oh, that was a really good idea, Michelle. So they kind of validated my thought process there, right? And nobody's like, oh, why'd you do that? Why'd you make yourself more work, Michelle? They didn't say that. They said that was a good idea.
You seem to gather a lot of information from others.
I'm a learner, and so I take in a lot of information. And so then I process that.
What does your process look like? So, for example, if you believe something to be true, you're talking to someone, they tell you something that's against what you believe to be true. How do you process through that? Or what do you pay attention to?
Like I start with my values. What are my values, right? Faith, health, family, wealth. In that order, non-stop, right? It's non-negotiable. And so I go to that. And then the question is, okay, well, who are they to me?
Okay.
Right? Why does their opinion matter? And if I don't really know them, are they more successful in a certain area that I'm trying to become successful in?
Okay.
So, like, if Joe Schmo off the street was like, I don't know about that, Michelle, I'd be like, cool, go back to what you're doing, right? Because their opinion means nothing. But when it's somebody who's of a higher stature in the speaking world, it does carry weight.
Okay. So you're looking to the expert advice.
Right.
And regardless of what their personal belief system might be, because so I heard this before, and I thought it was brilliant because it's true. There was a person who I was listening to, a speaker coach, who was talking about presentation skills, and she was coaching somebody, and she said, it doesn't matter what I think about your presentation because everyone will have a different opinion on it. And that's true, whether you're a speaker coach or not. Everyone has a different opinion, perspective, belief,
Absolutely.
whatever. So like what I might tell someone as a speaker coach would be totally different from another person, and both are valid, but not necessarily applicable to specific situations.
Right.
So as you are looking for expert advice from someone who you believe is in a different place than you are or where you'd like to be, how do you filter that information against what you're hoping to do?
It really comes down to, again, like, where do they fit in with my values? Where do they fit in with like their stature? Do I know their work? Is it validated? Right. So I kind of try to validate before I just take it all in. I mean, I take it all in, but then I validate. And then I heard this great saying at Influence last year, and I can't remember the lady that said it, but she said, eat the fish and leave the bones.
Interesting.
Right. So take what you need and then leave the rest. And so I really try to do that.
I like that phrase. I might steal it.
Yeah.
Borrow it, adopt it. Sorry.
I will figure out who said it and I'll let you know so we can give her proper credit.
Yes.
But I think that's really where it's at for me. But I just, when you're spending that kind of money to build a website and you're spending all this time and energy, and I've invested a lot of money into my world and my business, and even before the business, into just investing in myself. I just want to do a good job. Doesn't have to be perfect. It won't be perfect, but I want it to work.
Well, you mentioned a couple of things, and I just want to reflect back on something I heard you say. Your values, the top of your values is faith.
Correct.
So is it possible for you to show up on stage without having faith involved in some way, shape, or form?
Well, no, it's always there.
Okay.
I carry it with me.
So, right.
Yeah.
So you can't like separate that from yourself. It's not something you could just silo and be like, I'm going to put this over here right now.
Oh, no, absolutely not.
That's a unique part of who you are and how you show up as a speaker.
Right.
So trying to separate that from how you show up on stage is impossible. You can do it physically online if you need to.
Yes.
There's this site for these people, which is complicated. And so that's another thing. That's another thing. Capacity.
Oh.
As a solopreneur, as a speaker, as someone who's got multiple things going on in your life, what can you manage from a capacity standpoint? Can you manage 2 websites, 2 social medias for everything? Or is that even possible?
Well, so funny that you asked the burnout strategist about this, right? I've actually found it easier now that I've separated them.
Okay.
Because Rory Vaden says diluted focus is diluted results. And so when I'm on this page, I am focused, like, this is the message I'm sending out. This is what I'm doing, right? And then the next person go to the next site or the next social media page. I'm like, oh, this is focused on my coaching and consulting. Okay, I'm sending out messages about this. So it's actually made it easier.
So from a capacity standpoint, despite having duplication of efforts, it's
It sounds
easier
crazy.
for you.
Yes.
It's easier for you.
Yes.
Okay, so that problem is not a problem.
Right.
So what is the core problem here?
Because what I'm doing is I'm going to start rebranding everything under MVR, which stands for Michelle Von Ruden, also most valuable resource.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. And so I have the website, michellevonruden.com. It's not out yet.
Coming soon.
But the why I believe is already listed as why I believe at michellevonruden.com, this email address. And so when I start doing the speaking stuff, I'm going to have it under that same umbrella. And then I'll have anything that's speaking related. So the coaching, or so the speaking and the podcast will be under that umbrella. And then the coaching and consulting will be a separate umbrella, because they are, in a sense, 2 different things.
So if I wanted to hire you as a speaker, where do I go?
Right now,
Future state,
michellevonruden.com.
Okay. And what would I see there?
You'll see my speaking website, a page for meeting planners.
Okay.
And ideally the podcast.
Okay. So if I'm a faith-based person and I go to your current website as is, and I go to your speaking page for meeting planners, what would I see there?
There's nothing faith-based on there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So would that be an exclusionary thing, do you think, for someone from a faith-based perspective?
Potentially, maybe.
But you're more concerned about the other way.
The other way, yeah.
Okay. So in future state, you're hoping to put everything speaking on your MVR website?
Mm-hmm.
And all of your language will be faith-based?
No.
Oh. Okay. So you're still doing the both and.
So on the main page, it's going to be all my speaking. So whether that's Christian based or secular, it's on that page.
Okay.
And then the podcast and the meeting planner.
Okay. So it sounds like you can have it all and eat your cake too.
Can we though? That's my question is, can I put those all on the same page and not be discriminated against by meeting planners?
The future will tell. I mean, I won't pretend that I can predict the future.
Come on.
And the fear is there, but you don't have any evidence to show that's true
Correct.
yet.
Yes.
You've heard some things from some people on the street, word on the street.
Yeah.
You can believe that. You can say it's not part of what matters to me at this moment, you know. So how strong would that be for you? So for example, 2027, early 2027,
Mm-hmm.
new website, everything's out there. People are reaching out to you. What kind of evidence would prove that was not the right move?
Not continuing to get clients that aren't in the Christian world. So, because at the end of the day, what I really want to do is help people overcome burnout and take back their life. And it doesn't matter if you're Christian or not.
Right.
I can still help you. If you're sitting in an audience with a mixed audience, I can help you, right? I beat burnout in the biggest possible way. And I can help others do that. And that's really, at the end of the day, what I want to do. And I just don't want anyone to feel excluded. Does that make sense?
It does make sense.
Okay.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, you help people with burnout.
Yeah.
You can do that regardless of what kind of concepts you have within your talk.
Correct.
Who most struggles with burnout? Secular or Christian?
Both.
Who would you rather work with? Let's be real. Who do you want to work with?
I never thought about that. Because I really...
Woo! We stumped her.
I really haven't thought about that because really, I work with high achieving women who are struggling with the everyday getting their stuff done, trying to figure out like what they're doing, how they're even making it from day to day. You know, I've sat down with clients recently and I'm like, hey, how are you doing today? And this is before they're even a client. We're just having coffee. And they start crying when I ask them, how are you doing today? Okay, that's a problem.
I would say so.
Right. And so you're going to ask me how I'm doing, and I'm not crying. I could have 5,000 things going on. And as we discovered, I do. But I'm not crying about it. I'm like, oh, it's actually got me more focused, right? I'm really in tune with where I'm at. And I can help people get there. And that's really what I want to do, whether you're sitting in an audience, whether you're a coaching client, it doesn't matter how, or you're even listening to the podcast, right? I got you. And so I've never thought about it in that way.
Yeah. And I think this is important because as speakers, we tend to say, I will speak to any audience that will have me, will bring me in, will pay me my fee, all the things, whatever the minimum requirements are for you and your business. Ultimately, though, if you had to choose just one, what would you lean towards? Because we can do everything, just not all at once.
Yeah. You have me speechless. That doesn't happen very often. What I want to say is high achieving entrepreneurs is what I want to say.
Okay.
Yeah. That's what I want to say.
High achieving entrepreneurs.
Yes.
Regardless of background.
Yeah.
Okay. Another thing that I think is important to highlight is when you have a signature speech, as you do, you can deliver that signature speech to any audience. And when you have the right techniques to customize that to that audience, it doesn't matter who's in that audience. You will do your homework. You will be prepared. You will deliver an amazing experience. And you can have more than one audience. However, as you're focusing on your business model and who you most want to be in front of, you only have so many days in the year. You can only travel so many times. If you say yes to one, you're saying no to the other one. So as you hear that, what comes forward for you? What is more important to you?
Rephrase your question.
I'll rephrase it in a different way. Tomorrow you get offered 2 speaking engagements at your full fee. One is secular, one is Christian. Conveniently located, not a lot of travel. They cover all their travel, whatever. Or it's in a beautiful location. They cover your travel. Same fee. They say, we want you. We need you. Which one are you accepting?
Faith.
Okay.
Why? Well, it's my core values, right?
Okay.
part of me what I really wanted to say was, well, can I talk about God at the other one? Because then we might have to go to the other place.
Interesting. Do you want to provide more color around that?
Well, so in my talk, and this part is the one that doesn't change. So I talk about identity, and I say there's a line in there that says, you have to understand your identity. You have to know your true identity. And for me, that's being a child of God.
Mm-hmm.
For you, that may be different. And so it doesn't matter what audience, that line doesn't leave because it's true. I can't change that.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so then we get into whole, like, you got to, water your tree and take care of yourself and feed yourself. And, because that'll help you get over your identity issues with achievement and titles. So,
you know what came forward for me when you were talking? I know it's helpful for you to have one place for this, one place for that, and it allows you to focus.
mm-hmm.
Do you sometimes feel like that carries over into your personal life? Like, I'm going to keep this over here and I'm going to keep this over here, and different parts of me are going to show up in those places?
No.
Okay, I'm just curious because sometimes there are parallels.
Yeah, no. I mean, the only time I do that is when I shut my office door, I'm done with work. Because, my office is in my house, right? So I close my office and then, okay, work's over. Now it's family time, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's the indicator for shutting the door.
Okay.
But that's where that's at.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I was just curious because sometimes, and this happens with other clients, where they struggle with pieces of their own identity. Maybe there's some unprocessed things, something else going on where they're like, I'm afraid to say this on stage for one reason or another. Yeah. Either it's going to exclude someone's going to be offended, whatever might come up for them. Mm-hmm. Does that ever come up for you?
Well, I will say 2 years ago, we could have sat down and had this conversation and the answer would have been totally different. But this year I really stepped out of my faith. On January 2nd, I posted on Facebook a whole unmasking video of like being authentically me. It had, I think, over 1,000 views last time I looked. And so I would say before, even like a year, 2 years ago, I would said my values are the same: faith, health, family, wealth, in that order. But you would see me thinking about my family and my wealth. Maybe not so much my health, right? So that's changed. And it's the same with my faith, right? So like I would say, oh, I'm a person of faith, and then they'd be like, oh, okay, but they don't see it. Right. And so last year I was at a Christian conference that I spoke at, and somebody posed the question, if somebody was to walk in to persecute all Christians, would they know that you're a Christian by what you do and how you act and what comes out of your mouth?
And what about that question made you stop?
Because I don't think I would have qualified.
And how did that make you feel?
Not good. Right?
Where the shift was?
Well, integrity is a huge thing. No, the shift came after I got saved again last year.
Oh, okay.
I went in for an appendectomy and found out I had cancer in my appendix.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And because they took the appendix, I am cancer free.
Yes.
Then I went out to my husband. I was like, you won't believe what happened. And he's like, oh, God saved you again. So, and I was like, oh, this keeps happening. So yeah, there's lots of stories around that. Listen to the podcast.
Yeah. I'm actually kind of curious about that story. So I'm going to look at that, and I'll link it up in the show notes too as well. Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
So we've gone a lot of places in this conversation here. What's coming back for you as most important?
Why do I care what other people think when I'm not, if the whole point is to be true to me? Because really, as much as I like you and we're friends, your opinion doesn't matter at the end of the day. Right? So do what I want. Have my cake and eat it too.
Have your cake and eat it too. And just a small note, because I think it's important to demonstrate this, or at least to call it out as a potential concern.
Yeah.
I know that a lot of Christian or faith-based places don't necessarily have the budgets that perhaps other conferences or events, secular ones, might have.
Right.
Is that a concern for you at all?
It is to a point. I mean, because I can help the most people when I get paid, right? Because that allows me to do other charity work, things of that nature. However, it's not the end all be all, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. It's important because some people have different goals with their speaking. Some people are like, I don't care as long as I'm in a room full of potential coaching clients. Other people are saying, no, I'm not going to enter that room unless I get $10,000. Like it just depends on your goals for speaking.
As long as I'm not compromising my values, we're good.
Okay.
Yeah.
As we think about the right mix of business for you, because you can do all of the things and eat them too, but like what would be a perfect ideal mix of secular and faith-based work for you in the next year?
Well, for sure, the podcast is not going anywhere. That's going to be, my standalone. I was on a call yesterday and somebody's like, if you're going to call yourself a speaker, you got to speak twice a week. And I was like, oh, cool. Okay. We're going to work our way to that.
Twice a week. I've not heard that
Twice
one.
a week is what I heard. Yep.
Interesting. Everyone has their own like rules, right?
Yeah. Everybody does, right? Eat the fish, leave the bones.
Exactly.
I think, a healthy mix, 50-50 between my different engagements.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that sounds sustainable. Does it sound like a fair compromise for you?
Yes.
Awesome.
No, nothing's ever 50-50, but yeah, you know what I mean.
We start here, and then wherever we go in that journey is where we go in the journey.
Right. Absolutely.
Was there anything else you'd like to discuss around this conversation of where to focus your time, attention, speaking business?
The one thing that keeps coming up for me is like, how do the speakers that are the CPAEs, CSPs, how do they do it all? Because when you think about all the things that speakers have to do,
Yes.
right? Social media, email marketing, prospecting, admin, finance, marketing. I don't know. I'm missing things. You get the point.
A lot.
Right?
Yeah.
How do you do it all? Like, what does that day look like? And I think that'd be a great thing for you to cover someday.
Ooh, challenge accepted. I'm not a CSP, so I can't speak.
Well, no, but you know a lot.
I do. I can't speak to what CSPs do, but my observation is 6-figure speakers, they have a team.
Yeah.
They have a personal assistant. They have a VA. They have an OBM. They have somebody handling the back end, and they have the right tools to assist them with those things. And what I'm noticing is a lot of them have DIY programs or services. They're not one-to-one coaches. They either have the group program where they show up once in a while, or they have a course that people do at their own pace, self-paced kind of things. That's what I'm seeing with the more experienced speakers. I don't personally like that model. I have no interest in selling my business to anyone. I have no interest in carrying on the legacy of it. So for me, it dies with me.
Yeah.
But that's just how I want to be in my business. So you might have a different approach to what you want to do.
Yeah. And I do women's group coaching for entrepreneurs on Mondays. So we have a group that we work with that called the Growth Lounge. But then I do select individual one-to-one coaching too. So
yeah. So you have other things going on as well. You're not just speaking and prospecting and email marketing. You're also coaching and consulting and leading groups. So again, that capacity comes up of, what is your focus? And for me, speaking and coaching, 1 year speaking is more, 1 year coaching is more, and it just flip-flops from time to time. What is your mix for that?
So interestingly enough, because I have so many things, this is one of my little tips. So I have a little mini whiteboard on my desk, and every day is a different thing. Mondays are my podcast days. Tuesdays are prospecting. Wednesday and Thursdays are meetings. Friday is admin. And so that day I walk in and I know exactly what I'm doing. And so that helps me to align my focus for that day and touch every part of the business once a week.
Nice.
Yeah.
I do something similar. It's like weekly themes, and I also plan by the moon, but that's a whole nother conversation. If anyone wants to know about that, I can talk about that. I love how you compartmentalize. It sounds like you're very clear on your targets, how to get to them. And I appreciate having you in the podcast today talking about this, because I don't hear enough from the Christian and faith-based folks. And I think, there are many messages to share and many stages to share them on.
Yes.
So I appreciate that that's where you're saying, I'm going to go all in. I'm going to be who I am, fully as I am. And why do I care what anyone else thinks?
It's a lot easier to just be yourself.
That's a mic drop. Just be yourself. Awesome. Michelle, how can we connect with you?
Oh, yes. LinkedIn. Start there. Michelle Von Ruden.
All right. You'll see it in the show notes as well. And as we get your website and we get MVR up and running, ready to go, most valuable resource, I'll link that in the show notes as well. Stay tuned and make sure you subscribe so that you can catch the updated website. Thanks for being in the studio, Michelle.
Thank you.